As a veteran that fought for freedom, I shouldn't have to come here now and fight for my life, and fight for medical cannabis for not only me, but all my friends across the nation.
I think it went great today. It was good to see a lot of people speaking out for patients. I saw Chandra Batra, I think I said her name right, that I quoted her in my digboston.com story this week. She was there, she spoke very well. The King of Pot was awesome. Talked about his mom. You could definitely tell he was connecting with the DPH reps that were taking the testimony. Heidi Heilman was there. I got up close to her, filmed her ridiculousness. I even got to call her out in my testimony a bit. It's too bad that she took off. Too bad she doesn't have the balls to sit down and listen to what I have to say. It's too bad that she called me an addict and won't face me, because I actually was going to ask her if I got a chance for the camera and ask her, like, what proof does she have that I'm an addict of marijuana? Because I have proof that says otherwise. Family members that are close to me will attest to it. And I just did get a job that did require drug testing, so obviously I'm not an addict. I can quit for 30 days like everyone else. I have a medical condition. It did suck, though, during that period of time to have pain every day. You know, right now it's my hip, but it's all connected to my back issue that I've been suffering from for 17 years now. I thought the testimony was awesome today from the patients. I was glad to see that. There were some suits there that are supposedly on our side talking about how great regulations are. But even those folks were calling out the issues. There are issues with these regs. And I think we will be successful in some ways, probably not fully, but I think that when it goes from draft to a final regulation, I think that you will see that we did have some effect today in our little campaign that we started on online and on regular radio and through my YouTube and through some of the other activists starting petitions on Facebook and change.org. That did have an effect, and the letters did have an effect, and the Mass Care Normal, some of their members stepping up. Today, Catherine Rifkin was there, Andy Goss was there. They really did well too, so it's good to see it today. I'm happy for patients today. Hopefully we'll see some beneficial things to come out of this today. Hopefully it was worth taking a day off of work.
Hi, my name is Heidi Heilman, and I'm here as a mother of 3 small children. I've been in the field of youth substance abuse prevention and treatment for 25 years. And I actually hold the hat of leading the Massachusetts Prevention Alliance, which formed in November or December of 2011, as we were looking at legislation and law that would legalize marijuana in Massachusetts some level. And I've spent the last 18, I don't even know how many months, working around the clock on my free time to be here to sort of be an advocate for young people around this issue and in this industry. And I will be submitting written comments to you all. I'm not even sure what I have to say here when you heard today, but frankly I'm tired, I'm very exhausted. And I have a team of people that have been working with me on their free time. No one gets paid for this. And I know that in the last 25 years of my work in my career, I have watched marijuana strip away the opportunity and the potential of young people regularly and consistently.
My name's Mike Can. Actually, it's Mike Crawford. I have a pen name, Mike Can. I'm a radio host and a writer for Dig Boston. For a number of years, I was a board member of Mass Care Normal, the largest marijuana reform group in the state, and past president of that organization. I'm here speaking for patients. I'm not paid to be here. I have no financial interest to be here. I'm doing this, I'm volunteering, giving up a day of work to be here. I know there are a lot of attorneys here and paid advocates from both sides. Public health, they're being paid. They have an office, they have an interest. Some of the doctors here, I question how they can come up here and want to prescribe someone like myself Oxycontin for pain, which is toxic, addictive. We have a non-toxic substance, not addictive, cannabis. And we're treating it like it's much worse than what they're prescribing. I don't understand that, number one. 60-something% voted, we're the majority. Why are we looking to the group that lost to decide how to write this bill? The draft regulations, as I see them, should be thrown out and you should start over. I feel like regulations, there is a place for regulations. I'm not anti-regulations, but the regulations have to be smart. And I don't see, when we're looking at patients, that it comes down to the patients. Where is the cost? Like, I was a financial advisor for 10 years. I'm big time into looking at money and how money works. What is the cost-benefit analysis on all these regulations? I want to know on each regulation, how much is it going to cost patients? Because right now, under, you know, when marijuana use has been rising for decades in Massachusetts under prohibition, that is the most that's the most excessive regulation you can have. Regulations don't always make us safe. That was a regulation to have prohibition. That was the most excessive regulation. Did not make us safe. Governor Weld passed medical marijuana almost 20 years ago in the state. There was a regulation in there that we would have to wait for the federal government to get the medical marijuana. That never happened. That regulation did not make patients safe. I've heard many people speak today, and I think they've done a great job on picking apart all the little issues that we have as patients. I work with patients, anecdotally, just working with the 25 or 30 patients that I work for free. You know, basically, if a patient doesn't know where to go to a doctor, they don't know any of the information about the law, I counsel them, I take them through the whole process for free. A lot of my patients are having access now. If it's wide open right now with caregivers and they can't find access at an affordable price, what will these excessive regulations do to the price and their options? I have one caregiver that I know of that is reasonable compared to other caregivers who are charging much higher prices. If that one caregiver only can have one patient, I'm going to have to look for a new caregiver. And as a medical marijuana patient, I shouldn't be forced to be paying $350 to $400 an ounce to a caregiver right now. I should have the option to find the cheapest and best caregiver that I want. And these regulations do not allow that. And the same with the dispensary model. We're basically allowing the larger groups to run the system, it seems. We need patients to be allowed to have choice and access and get the medicine that they need. I'm sorry I'm going on a little more rant than everyone else today, but this really does hit home. I know the patients, and I'm a patient myself, and safe regulations, we all want that. But at the same time, what is the cost to the patients? I think that needs to be weighed in every step of the way through this process. And I really appreciate your time today, Department of Public Health. I know this is a huge task for you to weigh out all the different opinions and sides of it. Thank you for the time today. And again, I just hope that you do strike some of these regulations and listen to what people are saying. Thank you very much.
The main reason that most caregivers need to be able to take care of more than one patient is because there's often more than just one patient within a family. Right now, a lot of people are living in the sandwich generation of being the people who are taking care of both disabled children and disabled parents. And marijuana is an effective treatment for things like Alzheimer's and rheumatoid arthritis and many diseases that older people are getting, as well as being an effective treatment for a lot of children who have autism. So think about the unfair burden this would put on a family in which the older adult child has both a child who's autistic as well as a parent who's in debilitating pain. They wouldn't be able to provide for both people. They would have to choose, and nobody should be. There's a movie about that. It's called Sophie's Choice, and no one should have to ever make that choice in real life.
I think we want to encourage doctors to be prescribing this medicine because if patients have a hard time getting a card, then they're obviously going to the black market for it. I have a friend who couldn't be here today. She has cancer and is very sick right now, but it took her 5 doctors to see that would give her a prescription. There's directors of hospitals right now who are directing their doctors not to prescribe. And I just think it's the opposite message we should be giving if we don't want to encourage black market activity. As far as what's happened up in Maine, those problems came about because they have out-of-state operators coming in. We want people who know the Massachusetts landscape, and not people who are going to just come in here and export our cash and import their culture. This is Massachusetts, and East Coast state is a lot different than the West Coast states. And I think the DPH should really be encouraging local operators to operate these things. I mean, obviously no one here has done it before, but I think people are smart enough in this state to figure out how to do it without bringing in a lot of big out-of-state money players that don't necessarily have our state's best interests at heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I've been an activist in Massachusetts for the past 15 years for medical marijuana. So I've been on the front lines talking to everybody, getting as much information as I can about marijuana, because 15 years ago I discovered it worked for me. I, like everybody else, used it recreationally. So when I started using it medically, I saw what it did for me. And I suffer from PTSD. I heard a few people talk about that, including the Vietnam vet. And I also suffer from OCD. People may not know what that is. It's just another disorder, and it makes me very anxious and makes me very nervous. I can't perform my daily duties. And 15 years ago, when I discovered it, it worked. And the reason why I became an activist was because my mother suffered from the same thing. And I hear these regulations that are coming about, and I used to tell my mom, please, have a little smoke of this, it's helping me. And one day I saw her use it, and my mom ended up being my mom again. Unfortunately, we're all talking about the dangers here, the safeties of marijuana. I want an explanation of safety of marijuana. My mom passed away because of pharmaceuticals, okay? I went into her home and found bags of pharmaceutical pills. Every single type of pill you could imagine my mom had. Where's the regulations in that? Okay? Doctors prescribing my mother one pill after another, after another, after another. Is there a regulation there? No. So I see the anti-Crusaders coming up, and they use a Trump card all the time. What about the children? I'm so sick of hearing this about what about the children. You've got them exposed to all kinds of pharmaceuticals out there that's in their families' medicine cabinets. Are there regulations on that?
Which I'm really worried is not covered in your definition of debilitating. I brought here a report that just came out in 2012 from the VA to show that we have 22 soldiers, service members committing suicide a day. A large part are actually 55 plus. If you were to look to it before the war, it's at 20. So you could say, well, it wasn't the war that caused it. Well, it was. It just wasn't this war. It was the Vietnam War. 40 years, we're still letting down our Vietnam veterans. I'd hate for Iraq and Afghanistan veterans to suffer because of your definition of debilitating. The law was written to say in other, and in other covers us. We all talk about supporting veterans. I see very little of it. As a veteran that fought for freedom, I shouldn't have to come here now and fight for my life, and fight for medical cannabis, for not only me, for all my friends across the nation. Debilitating. As a father of 2 young children, it also really saddens me that we would believe that a child would have to have 6 months left to live before we can try something to help them. If dog poop would save my daughter, I would be out picking up dog poop every single day of my life. There's nothing I wouldn't do. And when you say that the child has to have 6 months to live, if you think about how hard it is to first get the first appointment, then the second appointment, and then to get the license for it, that could be 9 months. The child could then be dead. Why should someone have to wait for that long of the child suffering before they can use medical cannabis as an option?
By keeping prohibition on the books, even law-abiding entities can get a piece of the action. The corruption is rampant and killing us. All this ends as soon as prohibition is restricted from the books, or stricken from the books, as we saw when the alcohol prohibition was repealed. We would like all to come out of the cold, but that leaves us vulnerable to the vagaries of politics, enforcing harshly regulated, harshly restricted, and we're being forced into a harshly restricted, expensive market. The paradigm is still escalating punishment, not least harm. SWAT teams still smash in doors and shoot the family dog that is across the country. So you ask, why the bother over cannabis? For a silly high? For a silly moment of whee, like going over the top of a Ferris wheel? Just to be able to relax and laugh a little? The answer is that cannabis is a profoundly safe and effective medicine. It is fundamental to the regulations of one's body's functions. It does not destroy the function of one's organs like the use of pharmaceuticals will, and will not kill anyone like alcohol, tobacco, and pharmaceuticals will. So here's the science part.
Actually, the medical evidence is not even in dispute about the fact that the adolescent brain, which is exposed to THC over time, actually is rewiring the frontal lobe of the brain and compromising normal, healthy development in the adolescent brain. Why we're not able to talk about this openly and rationally, I'm not sure. But this is not a safe, harmless drug.
Oh my God, does this feel good? Did this get bent? Oh, it got a little bent. Just a little bit. Oh,
So,
you're not filming.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
What did you think about today?
I thought it was fun. I thought it was really good. I think a lot of people spoke from the heart and told people exactly where they felt. I think the whole thing with the professional people there, all the people with the suits that were on, a lot of them have business interests, let's be honest. It's all about money. It's not really about what me and Mike stand for, which is the patients. We care about patients' access, safe access. They want safe access too, but their regulations are totally out there. And, you know, they always use the trump card, what about the children? So, you know, I think we all stated what we had to say. Mike, you brought up a good point about the cost associated with, you know, this regulation. What's the cost to the patients? Nobody was even talking like that. Everybody was talking about, oh, the regulations are good. It's good to, you know, we're going to be the leader and the role model for states that are getting medical marijuana. No, we want, like the guy next to me said, we just want safe access, easy access. Don't make it difficult. You give people Adderall, you give people heroin to use when they're dying or whatever, and you got all these regulations against something that's so non-toxic. And I think everybody spoke from the heart, got that point to the DPH, and hopefully we'll see what they do.